Hey everybody, I just wanted to take a couple of minutes in this video workshop to talk about classroom management. There's nothing more frustrating than having a class that's out of control, having to get angry in order to make them listen. It causes us to stress out. It causes us to become emotional. And sometimes teachers and even parents in the home think that the only option that they have to make the students behave is to get angry. But today we're going to talk about the fact that there are ideas, there are techniques, ways for you to gain control of your classroom without you losing yourself, without you losing your emotions, without blowing up, without getting angry. And some of the ideas in this video you might like, some you might not. Choose what works best for you. Your style is probably different from my style, which is different from the style of the teacher across the hallway. You need to figure out what works best for you. There's a difference between trying to control students and establishing control of your classroom. Rules are about compliance. Procedures are about coherence. We don't need more rules. We need students to understand what is the procedure of how the class works, and when I do this, what is going to happen. Usually what happens is students start to learn when I talk when I'm not supposed to, I make the teacher angry. But what if they didn't have that control? What if they didn't have that control of your emotions? Are there other ways to help guide their behavior without you becoming angry and upset? There is. So we're going to talk about it right now. Structure. Students and children and kids and teenagers and even adults and even animals, they like structure. They like to know what's going on. Where are we going? How are we going to get there? When I show up in the morning, what is going to happen? When I do this, what is going to happen? Students like to know. We all like to know. The unknown is a very scary, scary place. But if we have structures in place in our classroom that the students already know, it will put our students at ease. Students crave structure. Our children are counting on us to provide two things: consistency and structure. Children need parents and teachers who say what they mean what they say, and do what they say they are going to do. Students want to know what is expected of them at school, and they want to know realistically if they don't abide by the rules or by the procedures, what is going to happen. If they know what's going to happen and we are consistent and we actually follow through with what we're going to say, it will help our classroom management so much, and it will help students learn better. Consistency. So if you already have a system in place that's working for you, awesome. Please tell me about it. Tell the other teachers about it. Let's use the positive things that are going on in your class and help other classrooms, because another teacher might need it. But as you will know, we need to be consistent. If we're going to put a new procedure into our class, we need to be consistent upon it 100% of the time. We can't do it 50%, we can't do it 75%, because it will simply confuse our students. If we tell our students that if you blurt out without raising your hand that this is going to happen, and then a student does it, but we don't follow through, the students will be like, they're not serious. They're not actually going to follow through with it. But if we actually follow through with it, they'll be like, wow, they're actually doing what they said that they were going to do, and I need to listen. And I want to also just put in one little reminder and a little bit of warning. When you put new structures and new procedures into place, students are going to test it. If you've ever seen the movie Jurassic Park, or any movie with animals that have like fences around them, and this is in real life too, Animals will test the boundaries. If there's an electrified fence trying to keep cows on the inside, the cows are going to test every part of the fence to see if it's actually electrified, to see if it's going to electrify them when they touch it, and they're going to try to find the weak places. Our students are going to do the same exact thing. So I don't want you to become discouraged thinking that if you put a procedure into place and now all of a sudden the students are acting worse, no. Just calm down. Do what you said. When you do this, this is going to happen. It will help our students understand. And at the beginning, they're going to test these new procedures to find out, are you actually going to follow through with it? So just be reminded of that. At the very beginning, they're going to test you. How to get your classroom's attention. How do you walk into a classroom? Everyone's having their own conversations. You're ready to start class. How do you get their attention? Hello, class! Quiet down, quiet down. You can shout, you can yell, you can stand there hoping that they're going to see that you're there and that you want their attention, but it might take a while. So here are some ideas of how you can get their attention. Get a bell or get something that sounds a little bit different, and you can ring it, and when they hear that, they need to be quiet. You don't have to shout, and this sound will go over their conversations. Okay? Use a timer. When you are in class and you're going to say, all right, students, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to work on this project. And when you hear the bell, please be quiet, put down your pencils. We're going to keep going. Set the timer, and when it goes off, all of a sudden the students will be quiet and you will have gained control of the class and you can start teaching. So here's a couple of other silly ideas that I found on Pinterest, and I've seen other school districts in the States use them. So one of them I saw was the teacher says, macaroni and cheese, and the students say, everybody freeze. It's kind of a little rhyming thing. So when they hear you say, macaroni and cheese, all of the students in unison will then say, everybody freeze. And then you need to teach them that after you say everybody freezes, everyone freezes and closes their mouth. And then you have gained the attention of the entire classroom without having to shout. Another one that I use is do a clapping rhythm, and then the students will do it in response. You can do any clapping rhythm that you want, and it's a way to get their attention without you having to yell. I don't like yelling. I don't think anybody really enjoys yelling. I don't think our students like it when we yell. Here's one that I've used before, especially with really large groups of like 100 or 200 people. In a classroom of 20 or 30, it might not work as well. You could say, if you can hear my voice, clap once. And the students who are in the front will clap once because they heard you. If you can hear my voice, clap twice. If you can hear my voice, clap 3 times. By then, everyone hopefully has heard, and as everyone has actually clapped, and now you have the attention of everybody. Another one, 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. And then the students in unison will say, 1, 2, eyes on you. Okay? You can use any ideas like that. You will see at the end, I recommend going on Pinterest, find out what works for you. What works for me might not work for you, vice versa, and so forth, but find out what works for you. A framework. Do your students know what's expected in class? When they walk into class in the very beginning of the morning, or when they walk in your class, let's say after lunch, do they know what to do as soon as they walk into class? Or do they have to wait for your instruction? I would highly recommend to start putting things in place for your students to know. When I walk into class, I put my lunch away, I get out my notebook, I start working on these problems, or whatever. It's the idle man who is the miserable man, Benjamin Franklin said. So if it takes you 5 minutes to get ready for class, you've possibly missed out on 5 minutes where the students could be doing something without you having to instruct them to do it. So when they walk into class, do they know what to do? You can do morning work. So you can have a couple math problems up on the board. They get out their math notebook, they start doing the problems. A question on the board, put lunch in the correct place, put homework in a bin, begin working on a specific journal or something. Make it clear, and every day they know it's the same thing. As soon as you get in the room, do your morning work. As soon as you get in the room, pull out your journal and start doing this. As soon as you get in the room, start doing this. It will help you, and they will start doing what they're asked. And when you are finally ready to start teaching, they're ready to go. Positive and negative reinforcement. These are the things that we put in place that help encourage our students to do positive things, and they would get a positive outcome, and negative things, which then would be something that they don't like, a negative outcome. So here's one idea. A lot of the ideas that I saw here came directly from Pinterest. You can get these little Lego pieces and write on it blurt. So these would be called blurt cubes. When students blurt out during class and talk when they're not supposed to, you would give them like a private symbol, like a little symbol to let them know that they need to turn one of their blocks around. And if they get all the way down to the bottom, they would get some sort of negative reinforcement. A letter home to parents or a timeout of some sort. You can choose what to do if they get down to the bottom. But students won't want to get all the way down to the bottom. They don't want to do that. Some teachers actually use one of these for every single student in the whole class, but you will probably find that maybe 2 or 3 of them are the ones who have a hard time raising their hand to talk. They're the ones who you would probably give something like this to. Blurt alert. This is something that you could do if they get all the way down to the end of the blurt box, the blurt cubes. They would have to write, I blurted out because, and they will have to write why they did it. And next time I will do what? And they will say, I will raise my hand when I want to talk or whatever. A clip chart. I've seen a lot of classrooms use clip charts. This is what a real clip chart would look like. Every single student in the classroom will have a clip with their name on it, and they will all start out right here in green at the beginning of the day. As the day goes on, for those students who are listening and those who finish their work first and who are very helpful, you could say, hey, Jose, go put your clip up. And then if students get all the way here to the top, you can give them some sort of reward, whatever you choose, whatever works for your classroom. But if there are students who are not doing what they're supposed to, you can tell them to go put your clip down. And then if they get all the way down to the bottom, it could be talk to parents, time out, whatever. Talking tokens. This is something that works in conjunction with the blurt beans, and I will also explain this. This could also work for high schoolers because it's not so cheesy and little kid-like. So how you would use this is every student at the beginning of the day or the beginning of the week, you would give them like 3 or 5 talking tokens. And those students who talk when they're not supposed to, you can take one of their coins away. At the end of the week, if each student has like 5 coins left over, they get something special. But those students who have less, they don't get anything. You can also use it cumulatively as well. So in this situation, you would give each student 5 beans at the beginning of the day. Every time the student talks when they're not supposed to, you would take away one of their blurt beans because they misbehaved. At the end of the day, you can tell the students put all the ones that they still have, put it in the jar, and when they get to these certain lines, they will get special things. For example, this teacher used extra recess, a movie day, and ice cream. Those are simple things that they use. You can figure out what works for you. Behavior charts. I know that you can use this in Class Dojo. This can work for big kids and for little kids. Just find out what works for you. So you would put each of their names in this, and you can look one up online and print it out. You can make an Excel sheet and print it out. You can even go to the teacher store in the city, and you could go buy a really big one if you want. And you would put stickers for the students who do positively. And when they get to certain areas, if like they get 5 stickers, they get a homework pass, or they get 5 extra minutes to do this, or they get to do this, or they get to wear a color day, or whatever. You choose how and what works for your classroom. If you implement your rules and your procedures and then you never talk about them again, the students aren't going to remember and they're not going to do them anymore. So I would recommend review your class rules every single day. Maybe every single week, or every 3 days, or every 2 days. Find out what works for you, or the students will forget. But if we talk about them every single day, it will help our classroom management and it will help the learning process improve so much. I got a lot of my ideas here from Pinterest, so I would highly recommend get the app Pinterest or go on your computer and type it in. And the things that I typed in was classroom management, classroom charts, and classroom positive reinforcement, just to get ideas. Find out what works for you. I hope you found this video helpful, and if there's anything that I can do to help you, please let me know, and please talk to your colleagues. Find out what works for you, find out what works with the other teachers, and we will do this together.